Family Guy has some of the funniest and wildest characters on TV. But let's be real, some are fan favorites while others just annoy everyone. From Stewie's genius to Brian's downfall, here's a look at the most loved and most hated characters. First up, the most loved character, Peter Griffin. Sure, he's dumb, reckless, and causes chaos, but come on, that's why we love him. Family Guy wouldn't be the same without his crazy antics. At the start of the episode, Peter, his family, and Joe hit the carnival, where Brian buys a ball for Stewie to throw. Naturally, Stewie refuses, and Brian, ever the multitasker, tries returning it while flirting with the stall girl.
You like sex, huh? You, wouldn't maybe want to grab dinner sometime?
Nah, but I'll bang you in the porta potty back by the very loud generators.
Lois forces Peter into a generation gap competition with Chris. They don't score a single point, and Lois, humiliated, regrets all her life choices.
This is more humiliating than my first day working at that rice pilaf company. I think we can start putting pilaf in other things.
Peter's motto, aim low, miss lower. Brian returns home drunk and forgets Stewie's name. Classic.
Anyway, Amber is like the perfect girl for me.
How old is she even?
Well, she's so weathered that's a hard number to peg.
Brian. Dating in dog years since forever. Lois forces Peter to bond with Chris, and after wandering into the wrong rooms, Peter awkwardly sits in silence until Chris saves him.
I don't know, your mom sent me up here. We embarrassed her in front of the town or something.
Oh, that is so Mom. Always getting mad about stuff that doesn't even matter.
Bonding through shared parental disapproval. Beautiful. Stewie meets Amber, Brian's latest disaster, who plans to kidnap him.
Oh, he's so cute. I just gotta kidnap him, don't I? Would you like that? I stuff you in a duffel bag, zip it up. We're in Indiana before you know it.
Charmed.
Brian, dumped by Amber, decides groveling is the answer.
Whoa, dumped by a carny. Brutal.
Yeah, I've been thinking. We don't really have much in common.
Amber, please take me back. Look, I even brought you a peace offering. A pack of cigarettes and some Nicorette gum, because I wasn't sure which way you wanted to go this week.
Meanwhile, Peter and Chris vibe while Lois schemes to break them up. They call her out.
Don't play dumb, Mom.
Chris and I see you trying to push us apart.
Yeah, we're your husband and your son, and we were actually getting to know each other. But it seems like some part of you wanted that to fail.
Oh, Lois, fixer of nothing, maker of drama. Bravo. Love him or not, Peter is Family Guy. His chaos keeps things wild. His stupidity keeps us laughing, and honestly, would we want it any other way? Probably not. Next up, the second most loved character, Stewie Griffin. He's a genius baby with a British accent, evil plans, and the best one-liners. Whether plotting or roasting, he's pure entertainment. The Griffins were at church, nothing like forced religion and stiff benches for bonding. Meanwhile, Stewie, glued to his phone, kept smacking the screen. Brian, finally annoyed, asked what he was doing.
Trying to stream Mindhunter in church. Freaking guest Wi-Fi. You know the priest gets the good Wi-Fi.
And yea, the Lord said, whoa, Mindhunter's going in.
Nothing like a murder show to really capture the Sunday spirit. Stewie wasn't feeling church, which is shocking given his love for authority. He only showed up for the free cookie because bribery works on toddlers and politicians. But when the priest announced no cookies with coffee, the real sermon began. Stewie's rage.
Hey, Stewie said his first word.
And it wasn't mom or dad, because that would be far too basic for a child of his intelligence. Nope, it was a full-blown swear. The entire church gasped and started whispering, because nothing brings a congregation together like collective judgment.
And it was a swear.
Well, this is unacceptable. We have to leave right now and go straight to breakfast. Unbelievable.
Yes, the classic solution. Run away and eat carbs. The family wasn't exactly thrilled because getting cursed out by a baby wasn't on their Sunday agenda, but one person took it the hardest.
Can't believe Stewie finally said his first word and it ends up being that. Right now, every woman in my mommy wine group is judging me. I might have to start drinking wine at home alone.
Forget the baby swearing. This was the real crisis. The next day, Lois took Stewie to Bonnie's pool party because nothing fixes a PR disaster like pretending it never happened. But Stewie's new reputation followed him. Like a tiny, foul-mouthed storm cloud, Bonnie wasn't thrilled about having him around the other kids.
You're saying that because of a swear word, my son isn't good enough for your pool party?
It's a little bit about him swearing, but mostly about you as a parent.
Oof, that one had layers. Just when things couldn't get worse, the grocery store made it official. The second employees saw them, they locked the doors and flipped the sign to closed. Apparently, one bad word now comes with a shopping ban.
I feel so awful. I've corrupted my baby with my foul language and my terrible anger.
I'm so sorry that happened, Lois.
A full meltdown was happening, which, let's be honest, it was inevitable. So, a vacation seemed like the best idea because ignoring your problems always works out well. When she finally returned, the whole family was happy to see her, especially Stewie.
Mommy!
Wow.
It's Stewie's second word.
Oh my God! His second word was me! Mommy! Oh, I love you, Stewie!
Stewie isn't just smart, he's hilarious, unpredictable, and full of attitude. Whether he's swearing in church or plotting chaos, he keeps things interesting. Honestly, how could anyone hate him? Principal Shepherd isn't perfect, but in Quahog, that's a low bar. He's just a tired guy dealing with chaos, making him one of the most loved characters. Chris's school principal called Peter and Lois in for a meeting. No, not for Parent of the Year awards. Chris was struggling. Again.
The point is, Chris's grades aren't improving, and just yesterday he caused a little ruckus in his history class.
Ah, great. Another Griffin redefining academic excellence. The principal suggested vocational school, and Peter, ever the genius, assumed it was because Chris worked so hard. The principal had to smash that little illusion.
No, vocational school is where less academically capable students learn a trade.
Don't you have to be Italian to go to one of those schools?
There will be plenty of those jokes later in the episode.
Now, won't vocational school limit Chris's options down the road?
Oh, hardly.
Translation: Chris's future is already limited. This just makes it official. Taking the principal's advice, Peter and Lois enrolled Chris in vocational school. Chris naturally took it well. Just kidding. He had an existential crisis.
I can't believe I have to go to vocational school. Does this mean I'm a failure?
No, sweetie, it means that we're failures.
Finally, some honesty in this household. Chris's first day at vocational school went surprisingly well. The teacher introduced him, the cafeteria was fancier than their own house, and Chris had only one complaint.
Wow, this is way better than that barber school I went to where I couldn't stop pumping the chair.
Just a bit off the top and shorter on the sides.
We're just gonna be pumping today.
Yeah, no one trusted Chris with sharp objects anyway. Back at vocational school, Chris was learning to be a mechanic when some guys asked if he wanted a bread sandwich. Chris had no clue what that was. Oh man, big mistake.
Me, I like a piece of sourdough on top, piece of sourdough on bottom, and a nice piece of wheat in the middle.
I like to go rye, rye, rye. I'm a rye guy.
Hey, you guys going to Pete's? Someone get me a bread sandwich. Griffin's never had one.
Chris, failing school is one thing, but not knowing about bread sandwiches? Oh, unforgivable. Peter and Lois, being supportive parents, invited Chris's new friends to dinner.
Mr. and Mrs. G, thanks so much for having us over for dinner.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Chris has said so many nice things about you.
Maybe one or two of them are true.
Translation: We've barely insulted you behind your backs. Chris finally escaped the mafia and got back into school. Just when they thought it was over, there was a knock at the door. And bad news.
That's him. That's the one who popped me.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. Did I not sound sure?
Looks like Chrissy might need witness protection, or at least new kneecaps. Principal Shepherd may not be the most exciting character, but that's exactly why he's one of the least hated. He's not a villain, he's not completely useless, and he actually tries to do his job. Coming in as the fourth least hated character, Joe Swanson. He's brave, loyal, and always ready for action. Whether leading the squad or flipping out, he's never dull. Bonnie leaves town and asks Lois to watch Susie and Joe, because apparently babysitting a grown man is normal. Lois agrees, but cleverly ropes Meg in by sweet-talking her first.
Bonnie wants you to look after Susie and Joe while she's out of town.
What? Why me? I don't want to have to do that.
And Bonnie said you were very pretty.
Lois knows how to play her cards, and Meg reluctantly agrees. Meg shows up at Joe's house, rings the bell, and walks into a scene that screams, "Call for help." Joe is mid-role-play with a doll, practicing his top entrances in a way that can only be described as unsettling.
Drop it, creepo. Don't move, Catherine Deneuve. Freezerino, Paul Sorvino.
What are you doing, Mr. Swanson?
I'm trying out some cop entrances.
Oh, well, I'm here to help you out while Bonnie's gone.
Sure, Joe. Practicing. We all believe you. Despite the weirdness, Meg gets to work. She helps Joe with his leg exercises and handles Susie's needs like a champ. But it's not long before things start to go sideways.
Oh, thanks, Meg. I really appreciate you helping me out these past couple of days. Sorry I bit you yesterday.
That's okay. I guess now I know not to get too close to your bowl, right?
Wait, Joe bit her? What kind of babysitting gig did she sign up for? When Meg misses the school bus one morning, Joe offers to drive her. A nice gesture, right? Wrong. Joe's attempts at small talk are, let's just say, cringeworthy at best.
So, I hear you teenage girls are pretty hot on that, Nick Cage.
No, not really.
Okay.
Smooth move, Joe. Nothing breaks the ice like a random Nicolas Cage reference. The awkwardness doesn't stop there. When Meg asks Joe if it's hard being a paraplegic, his response is unique.
Yeah, you know, it's like we handicap people say. When life ruins your legs, you just gotta make lemonade.
I can sort of relate to that.
Lemonade? Really, Joe? Joe unknowingly crosses a line when he tells Meg he doesn't mind being seen with her. What he means as a kind, casual remark, Meg takes as a full-on declaration of affection.
I don't mind being seen with you.
You don't?
Of course not.
Wow.
The next morning, Meg goes all out. She dresses up in a revealing outfit, makes breakfast for Joe, and acts like a 1950s housewife. Joe, oblivious as ever, brushes it off, which only fuels Meg's fantasies.
You're welcome, Joe.
I should have said something.
He let me say it twice now. It's like we're married.
Someone get Joe a reality check and maybe some pepper spray. Determined to spend even more time with Joe, Meg takes things to a whole new level of disturbing. She plants a gun in Bonnie's bag, getting her stopped at the airport.
Ma'am, this bag contains a concealed weapon. I'm gonna have to place you under arrest.
Oh my goodness, how did that get in there?
Meg's moral compass has officially packed its bags and left the building. At dinner, Meg takes her obsession even further. She drops a bombshell question that leaves Joe visibly uncomfortable.
Do you ever think about having another baby?
I don't know. I guess I'm open to it.
Really? Oh, that's great. So I'll get off the pill.
Well, what do you mean?
Nothing. Forget it.
Joe's expression? Pure regret. Things escalate when Meg gets upset over Joe's lack of attention.
You know, I could ask the same of you. We haven't made love in 2 weeks.
You haven't made love ever.
Oh, great. Now you've upset the baby.
Oh, God! Oh!
Joe is officially in over his head. Joe, finally realizing how far things have gone, turns to Peter and Lois for help. But their reaction is, unsurprisingly, dismissive.
All right, look, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I misread a few of Meg's signals. I'm sorry I bothered you.
Thanks for such great parenting, guys. In a last-ditch effort to win Joe over, Meg jumps in front of his car. Joe, ever the good guy, takes her to the hospital and uses the moment to set some boundaries.
Look, Meg, I do care for you, but I care for you like I would a niece or a good friend's daughter.
Ouch. That's gotta sting. Joe's flaws make him awkward, but his heart is always in the right place. He tries his best, even when everything goes wrong. Plus, Who doesn't love a cop with a dramatic backstory? Out of all the Griffin family friends, Bonnie is one of the least hated. She's mostly chill, rarely causes drama, and somehow puts up with Joe's nonsense. Peter and the guys are relaxing at their favorite spot, the Drunken Clam, enjoying some peace and quiet. But then, Lois and her friends show up, turning the place into their own party zone. The women start dancing and having a great time, while the guys sit there annoyed, watching their escape spot disappear.
The clam's the only place we got to get away from the women. This is a bigger disaster than Jack Black's last movie.
Fed up, Peter and his friends come up with a genius plan. They'll open their own bar. A bar just for guys. No wives, no interruptions, just a place to relax and share silly stories. Nothing says guy time like a bar full of dudes swapping highly intellectual stories and dodging their wives.
Quagmire, tell that story about the girl with the inside-out anus.
Oh, you mean Blossom?
Oh, that's a great story.
But their plan doesn't last long. Their wives find out about the bar and show up to party there too. Bonnie sits with Joe, but instead of enjoying himself, Joe starts feeling bad about his wheelchair. Leave it to Joe to turn a night out into a pity party.
What I mean is, I don't want to hold you back.
Don't be silly, honey. It's just as nice watching other people have fun.
God, I hate being handicapped. Sometimes I feel more useless than the head of the maids union.
Joe's self-esteem took a nosedive so hard, it made his wheelchair jealous. Later, Joe hears Bonnie telling her friends that she's okay with giving up dancing forever because of him. Joe feels guilty and starts thinking about how he can fix things.
God, she must regret this marriage. If only there was some way for me to walk again. Wait a minute, what am I saying? There's nothing wrong with me. I'm no different than any other guy.
Joe's motivational speech to himself deserves an Oscar. Truly inspiring. Until you realize he's hyping himself up for a midlife crisis in 4K. Then, Bonnie walks in and hits Joe with a classic request. Take out the trash. But of course, she doesn't say it like a normal person.
Joe, would you put on your hand shoes and take out the garbage? Thank you.
Hand shoes? Really, Bonnie? Joe decides to visit the hospital, hoping for a miracle that might help him walk again. Ever the optimist, he brings Peter along for moral support.
Hey, thanks for coming with me, Peter. It sure would be wonderful if Dr. Hartman could help me walk again.
Shockingly, the surgery works, and Joe can walk for the first time in 15 years. Bonnie offers him a ride home, but Joe, in peak look-at-me fashion, decides to skip the car entirely.
Are you kidding? I've got working legs for the first time in 15 years and I'm gonna use them. I'm walking home.
Imagine spending a fortune on surgery and then flexing by walking instead of driving. Peak Joe energy. Now that Joe's legs are fully operational, he dives headfirst into every activity imaginable with his friends. The problem? He's on a mission to make up for lost time, but Peter, Quagmire, and Cleveland are nowhere near his energy level.
My God, Joe is running us ragged.
Yeah, I haven't been this exhausted since I had that job as Jack A. Harry's personal grocery shopper.
It doesn't stop there. Joe decides his old crew isn't cutting it anymore and introduces his friends to his new, cooler, and apparently more athletic squad.
Well, Peter, I realized over the last few days the only reason I hung out with you guys is that I was crippled and you were lazy. I decided it's time I got some friends more suited to my status.
But Joe, we've been friends for years.
Hey, we all make mistakes.
Wow, Joe. What a way to say thanks for being there. Peter later finds Joe at home where he's breaking up with Bonnie. Joe says he's moved on and doesn't want to be with her anymore.
There's nothing to talk about. I've outgrown you, Bonnie. I need to spread my legs and fly. Keep the kid.
Spreading legs and flying? Joe sounds like he's auditioning for America's Next Top Midlife Crisis. Peter, of course, can't let Joe ruin his life. But Joe refuses to listen, so Peter does what Peter does best. Come up with a terrible borderline criminal plan. The solution? Re-cripple Joe. Because clearly, the moral high ground isn't Peter's forte. Leave it to Peter to turn Mission Impossible to Mission Immoral. Classic Griffin logic right there.
Boys, there's only one answer. We gotta re-cripple Joe. It's the right thing to do, like taking out Hitler.
Their mission backfires spectacularly. Joe, now a walking powerhouse, easily overpowers them. Just when all hope seems lost, Bonnie arrives with a gun, ready to handle things her way.
Not until I have my husband back!
My perfect ass!
Oh, I'm sorry, Joe. I was aiming for your spine.
Bonnie's blunt shooting skills are both terrifying and oddly impressive. Someone get this woman an action movie deal. In the end, Joe is back in his wheelchair and Bonnie gets her husband back. Moral of the story? Sometimes change isn't always a good thing, especially if you're Joe Swanson. Bonnie's one of the few in Quahog who isn't a total train wreck. She's patient, rarely causes drama, and when she does, it's usually justified. Compared to the rest, she's practically a saint. Chris Griffin isn't the worst, but he's definitely not well liked. Clueless, awkward, and often creepy, he earns his spot as the 5th most hated character. Chris got bullied at school again, and this time it was because of his sneakers. The same sneakers Lois bought for him with love, or at least a clearance sale. He stormed home to complain.
Mom, Dad, I need to get new sneakers.
What? I just bought you new sneakers.
I know, but I need cooler ones.
Shut up and stop complaining. When I was your age, I didn't even have sneakers.
Ah, yes, the classic back in my day speech. Nothing says supportive parenting like telling your kid they should be grateful for garbage. Later that night, Chris walked past his parents' room and conveniently spotted a wallet sitting on the bed. He glanced at his worn-out shoes, then back at the wallet. That's when he made a very responsible decision.
That's it. I'm getting those sneakers. After all, shoes make the man.
Yes, Chris. Morals, integrity, hard work. Nope, it's all about the shoes. Unfortunately for Chris, Meg saw everything. Later, as he sat on the couch, she walked up to him, sounding like a discount movie villain. Chris, of course, was confused.
Listen, I saw you steal money from Mom's purse.
Oh, well, I was just trying to get new sneakers. You're not going to tell on me, are you?
Well, that depends.
On what?
On what? Oh, Chris, you sweet, dumb fool. Meg never passes up an opportunity to ruin your life. Meg handed Chris a never-ending list of chores. He cleaned her room, did her homework, and basically became her personal servant. When he dared ask if he was done, Meg crushed his hopes.
Oh no, there's a lot more things I need you to do for me.
There are? Like what?
Well, now you have to watch An Officer and a Gentleman with me.
And that's it?
No.
First chores, now a forced movie night? Chris is basically in a low-budget prison. Chris tried to escape bullying at school, but now he was trapped at home. When he finally had enough, he ran away. Except Meg mocked him, pointing out that he had 0 friends to stay with.
Hi, I ran away from home. Do you mind if I live with you?
Live with me? My goodness, I feel like I want to pinch myself to see if I'm dreaming.
Spoiler alerts, he's not dreaming. This is actually happening. Chris quickly realized living with Mr. Herbert was even worse. He played video games, watched old suspicious videotapes, and slowly lost his sanity. Then, just when Chris thought he was stuck forever, Mr. Herbert unexpectedly kicked him out.
Chris, I think it's time for you to go.
Okay, I'll go. But I want you to know I faked all my lightheadedness.
Chris, buddy, you didn't need to fake anything. You genuinely suffered. Chris ran from bullies, only to land in even worse situations. His bad choices and cluelessness make him one of Family Guy's most hated characters. Let's move on to Brian, the dog who thinks he's the smartest guy in the room but still eats stuff off the floor. Brian and Stewie were at the bank vault because Brian had some things in his safety deposit box. Stewie asked what was in there that he couldn't just bury in the yard. Brian told him he had some important things.
You have a dead bird in there? What are you going to do with that? I was going to take it home, show it to Lois, make her proud of me.
Nathan says, "Look, Mom, I'm responsible." Like bringing home roadkill. Stewie was getting impatient. He had bought a $3,000 sweater and needed to return it. Brian and Stewie were bickering when, suddenly, the bank vault's locked.
I don't believe this. Hello? Hello? We're locked in! Did you just crap your diaper?
I got scared when the door closed.
Stewie acting like Brian locked the vault on purpose. Meanwhile, Brian's dealing with an emergency diaper situation. Stewie started banging on the door, but Brian had some bad news for him.
You're wasting your breath. These bank vault doors close automatically at the end of the workday. This thing won't be open again till tomorrow.
And just like that, they went from running errands to starring in their own survival movie. Stewie insisted Brian should change his diaper, but Brian told him he didn't have any diapers. That's when Stewie had something important to share.
Well, I can't be in a soiled diaper until tomorrow, Brian. We both know that. I'll get a rash, which could lead to an infection if left like this.
All right, fine. I'll take the diaper off.
Nothing builds friendship like discussing diaper rashes in a locked vault. Then Stewie hit Brian with the worst request possible. He told him to eat his poop. Brian was disgusted and furious. Ugh.
So what I would need you to do is eat what's in my diaper, lick the diaper clean, and then put the diaper back on me.
Stewie's negotiating skills are wild. He started with the worst possible demand and just kept going. Brian suddenly remembered that Stewie had his phone, but when Brian told him to call for help, Stewie decided to first call customer service to return his sweater. When Brian finally got the phone, it was dead.
It's dead. You wasted the one phone call we had to return a sweater?
A $3,000 sweater, which I am now stuck with.
Great. Now they're trapped and stuck with bad fashion decisions. Brian, completely fed up, slapped Stewie. Stewie cried in the corner. Feeling guilty, Brian made the ultimate sacrifice. He started licking the diaper. Stewie was so disgusted, he threw up.
Got some dessert for you.
You gotta be kidding me.
Come on, it's throw up. You like throw up.
I do like throw up.
This is possibly the worst meal in Family Guy history. After eating everything, Brian sat silently in the corner, broken. That's when Stewie casually realized something.
I just realized something.
What?
Tomorrow's Sunday.
Oh, great. Not only are they locked in, but now Brian's full of regret and poop. Brian had a wine bottle in his safety box. Desperate, he decided to drink it. He even offered it to Stewie, who happily accepted. Now, both of them were drunk.
I like hanging out with you, Brian. I feel like a big boy right now.
Nothing bonds two friends like trauma and alcohol. Stewie, completely wasted, decided he wanted to pierce his ear. Brian, also wasted, agreed. He grabbed a needle and stuck it in Stewie's ear.
Oh, wow. Oh.
What is it?
It's stuck. In there. I think the pin's too thick to go all the way through.
Get it out!
Ah! Got it.
Yes. The responsible way to get a piercing. Drunk and in a bank vault with a dog. Things got tense. Suddenly, they started arguing. Stewie, feeling dramatic, told Brian to kill him. He handed Brian a gun, claiming it had no bullets. It did, and the gun went off, sending a bullet bouncing around the vault.
I'm sorry, Stewie.
Me too. How long is this gonna last?
No idea.
This is why you always check if a gun is loaded before playing dramatic games. The next morning, Stewie touched his ear and realized something felt off. He asked Brian what happened, and Brian reminded him they pierced it last night. That's when Stewie asked why Brian even kept a gun.
I keep it in case I ever want to commit suicide, okay?
Wow. Oh my God, you're serious?
Well, that just got dark real fast. Brian is hated because he's a hypocrite. He acts smart but makes dumb choices, judges others while being just as bad, and is desperate for validation. Meg Griffin, the ultimate punching bag of Family Guy. She's ignored, mocked, and humiliated. But let's be real, she's not just a victim. From creepy obsessions to desperate behavior, Meg has earned her spot as the third most hated character. There was a party going on for Stewie, and Meg was hiding a piece of cake in her purse. When a man came up and told her she must get this question a lot, but was she a model? she gave her usual answer.
I've never even been in a picture before.
Well, I don't just shoot school events. My real passion is discovering talent like yours.
Really? You think I could model?
Sure, you've got a great look.
Ah, yes, the classic random guy spots a model in the wild moment. Totally not sketchy at all. Lois and Peter were watching TV when Meg came in and said goodbye. Lois asked where she was going. Then Meg told them her big modeling news.
Actually, I met a photographer at Stewie's school yesterday, and he wants me to model for him.
Nothing screams professional like finding models at a preschool. After hearing that, Peter ripped his ears off. Lois asked why he did that, and he said it was the most ridiculous news Meg had ever told them. Meg, of course, got defensive.
You know, it would be nice if you guys believed in me just once. You're being terrible parents, even worse than John Edwards.
Peter's reaction was dramatic, but let's be honest, it was on brand for him. Meg reached the photo studio and changed into the outfit. The photographer played loud music, hoping it would help her pose better.
Well, that was a stupid idea, but you were phenomenal.
You really think so?
Here, have a look. I think these turned out great.
Nothing builds confidence like a photographer who immediately regrets his own choices. She thought she had taken a bunch of great pictures, but reality had other plans. There wasn't a single shot of her face or body. It was all feet.
Wait, Ben, are they all of my feet?
Well, Meg, the thing is, my name's Evan, by the way, a lot of people will pay good money for pictures of sexy feet. Foot fetish porn sites are a huge business.
But when you asked me to model, I thought you meant real modeling.
Plot twist, Meg just accidentally became a foot influencer. After finishing her modeling gig, she went home early. When she walked in, she saw Lois and Peter dancing romantically. They saw her and immediately asked why she was home so early.
I was. Wait, what's happening here?
Well, not that it's any of your business, Meg, but this is why we've been married as long as we have. We do things together.
Meg's night just got worse. Now she has to process this scene too. After making fun of her all night, they suddenly asked about the photo shoot. Meg told them about it, still hopeful.
Actually, Evan thinks I'm a natural and that I'm gonna be a huge success. He thinks I could be a famous model.
You famous? Come on, Meg.
Meg really thought they'd believe in her for once? Rookie mistake. After hearing her parents mock her again, she went back to Evan and told him she wanted to quit, but Evan had other news. She had become an overnight sensation.
You got 35,000 views in one night, and none of them got past the fourth picture.
What does that mean? Oh.
They love you.
Congrats, Meg. You're, famous for feet. Chris was casually looking at foot photography when he saw some familiar feet. A birthmark confirmed it. It was Meg's feet. He was in shock.
Mom, Dad, Meg is doing foot porn.
What? Oh my God! Peter, our little girl is doing pornography. We gotta stop her.
What the hell? There's an animated version of you and me doing it.
Chris, actually browsing foot pics is a whole separate issue. Lois and Peter rushed to stop Meg, but Meg wasn't having it.
And we're just trying to protect you.
Are you kidding? All you've done is make fun of anybody possibly thinking I could be a model. Well, guess what? There are people out there who think I'm beautiful.
Meg finally gets validation, and it's from the worst possible source. Peter and Lois lost track of Meg after she went to a party. After failing to find her, they went to Quagmire for help.
She's run off to some foot fetish porn party. We figured you might know where it is. You know, because of your boners and stuff.
Foot fetish party, huh? Oh, come on in.
Of course. Quagmire knows where to find it. They finally found Meg and told her she didn't need to do anything extreme to feel appreciated.
You shouldn't have to do porn to feel appreciated.
Really?
Of course, Meg. We love you, sweetheart.
This might be the first time they've ever said something supportive. Too bad it took foot porn to get there. Meg thought she was finally getting her big break, but nope. Just foot fetish fame. Her parents mocked her until things got too weird, then suddenly cared. Lois Griffin takes the second most hated spot. Once the voice of reason, she's now just as reckless as Peter. From cheating scandals to selfish schemes, Lois has traded caring mom for full-on chaos. A new restaurant had just opened in town, and Peter and Lois couldn't wait to check it out. They were thrilled. It was called His and Her Restaurant, which they'd been eagerly waiting for.
I can drink beer, watch sports, and play Papa Shot right here at the table.
And I can drink wine and scroll through Bonnie's Facebook, secretly enjoying that she has an ugly baby.
Wow. Beer for him, wine for her, and judgment for Bonnie's baby. Meanwhile, Brian was trying to write, but the noise outside was driving him crazy. He stormed out, ready to confront the culprit, only to find Stewie overseeing something.
Oh yeah, check it out. I'm having these guys put up a treehouse. Sort of like a man cave / dance studio kind of deal.
Ah, yeah. The bold combination no one asked for. Meanwhile, Lois and Peter had their own subplot brewing. They went to a sex therapist, and Lois learned a secret hypnosis trick to influence Peter during their private moments. It worked. Way too well.
You really don't remember? Wow, that hypnosis works.
Well, I gotta get in the shower. You know, 'cause of that indivisible part.
Hypnosis. The perfect solution when love and communication fail. Back in Treehouse Land, Stewie took the criticism to heart and completely renovated his space. He invited Brian and Chris over again, confident this time they'd be blown away.
Stewie, this is incredible.
Oh yeah, you like? The old place just didn't have much of a vibe, you know?
Well, it sure as hell has a vibe now.
But no sooner had they left than Stewie overheard them roasting it again.
Cliche and just desperate. Literally not one thing about that place says Stewie.
It's like he Googled man cave and said, Nolan Ryan?
Oh, I know.
Stewie's decorating style. Control-C, Control-V. Minimal effort, maximum cringe. Later, Peter and Lois visited Lois's parents, and while there, Peter accidentally heard his hypnotizing trigger phrase again, in a situation that definitely wasn't ideal. Awkward. Family deepest secret turned into primetime humiliation. Fed up, Stewie confronted Brian and Chris. He lured them into the treehouse, then ambushed them, tying them up.
You don't think I don't know what's going on? I've heard every word you two said about me and about my man cave.
Finally, Stewie's revenge arc. Part Home Alone, part therapy session. Brian and Chris panicked, but managed to sweet-talk their way out of it. They even suggested throwing a big function in the treehouse to make it feel special. Flattered, Stewie let them go.
I can't believe he bought it! Like we would ever do Eric's nifty 50 up there.
And the table assignment card station would be where exactly?
Poor Stewie. Some things never change. Whether she's judging Bonnie's baby or meddling in weird ways, Lois proves time and time again why fans can't stand her anymore. She's not just hated for her wild behavior. She's hated because she knows exactly what she's doing. Now, for the most hated character, Herbert. Creepy, unsettling, and way too obsessed with Chris. He's the one character no one wants to see on screen. Every appearance is just pure discomfort. Lois told Peter to mow the lawn, but Peter, being the hard-working man that he is, decided Chris should do it instead. After all, what's the point of having kids if you can't make them do chores? He promised to personally teach Chris how to do it over the weekend.
Okay, Chris, now if you're gonna learn how to mow a lawn, the first lesson is that you always start by 7 a.m., before everyone wakes up, including roosters.
Peter's parenting style. Make sure everyone is equally miserable. Chris was already dreading this lesson, but Peter had other plans. Instead of actually teaching him, he took the laziest approach possible. YouTube tutorials.
For the rest, you can just watch this how-to video on YouTube.
What's going on, guys? I'm Corey, here to take your lawn mowing skills to the next level. But first, make sure you subscribe to my channel, Corey's World.
Even Peter's parenting comes with a like and subscribe button. So, while Chris struggled with the mower, Peter disappeared, probably off to do some important dad things like taking a nap. Meanwhile, Mr. Herbert, the neighborhood's resident creep, came jogging over.
Hey there, Chris. You know, I've been looking for a muscly-armed young fella to mow my lawn.
Sorry, Mr. Herbert, but I don't even want to mow this lawn.
Chris barely wants to mow his own lawn. No way he's signing up for this. But then, Mr. Herbert hit him with an offer too good to ignore.
Would $600 a week change your mind?
Would it? You got a deal.
And I can pay you under the table. I like to make a little fort under there. I call it Fort Dix.
Nothing says totally normal job like a sketchy under-the-table payment in a homemade fort. The next morning, Peter and Chris showed up at Mr. Herbert's house, ready to earn some cash. But before they even got started, Herbert seemed more interested in Peter.
And what's your pal's name?
I'm Peter, sir.
You're big for your age, ain't you, Peter?
Yeah, doctor says I eat too much candy.
Ain't no shame in being chubby. You're a growing boy.
Peter just got mistaken for a child. Somewhere, Lois is screaming into a pillow. As Chris slaved away under the burning sun, Mr. Herbert came out with a plate of freshly baked cookies and a pitcher of grape juice. Before Chris could even react, Peter launched himself at the snacks like a wild animal.
But Mr. Herbert, you always made the cookies with the large pill in the center for me.
Sorry, Chris. He just got to him first.
I thought I was your favorite.
Chris just lost his only supporter to a grown man with no self-control. At this point, Chris had had enough. He looked up from the sweaty mess that was his life and saw Peter and Mr. Herbert playing around like two giddy schoolgirls. That was it. He was done.
It's time you did all the work and I goof off with Mr. Herbert.
Like hell it is.
Chris tried to turn the tables, but Peter refuses to retire from his position as the laziest man alive. This led to an all-out father-son brawl in the middle of Herbert's yard. And in the heat of the fight, Chris accidentally called Peter Dad. Suddenly, Herbert had a realization, and it was not a good one.
Sorry I got jealous, Dad.
That's all right, Chris. Hey, did you get a little aroused when we were wrestling?
No.
Me neither.
There are some sentences that should never be spoken. This was one of them. Peter and Chris took on a simple lawn mowing job, but Herbert had other plans. This episode just proved it again, with Chris barely escaping a creepy job, while Peter unknowingly made things worse.